She has treated dozens of patients who claim they have been attacked. Initially, the doctor is skeptical about their stories, but soon she experiences a UFO sighting herself. It is around 6 o'clock. Carvalho is returning home from her shift at the local healthcare unit and sees a woman faint.
I looked up, and that which I had denied, that I didn't believe in, that I thought was the product of delirium, craziness, made-up stories, people wanting attention, I saw the object at the height of approximately a 10-story building.
The object is cylindrical. Carvalho suddenly feels paralyzed by what she is seeing.
It didn't have the color of stainless steel, or the color of silver, or the color of anything else. It had its own color, and it moved in elliptical movements. It was directly over my head, making elliptical movements and coming back again.
According to statements from witnesses, at this exact time, the Air Force picks up a signal on the radar his men have set up on a nearby beach. As the team scrambles to focus their telescopes and cameras, the object disappears.
It turned toward the bay and headed out to sea.
Holanda and his team continue their surveillance on Colores. They collect over 500 photographs and 15 hours of film, showing what appear to them to be bright lights high in the sky. The reports from the investigation are sent back to Comar headquarters in the nation's capital of Brasilia.
The Air Force really delved into the investigation. They had to give some kind of an answer to the people that were having these encounters. And I'm certain that it came as a surprise that the military men from the Air Force themselves began having their own encounters, their own experiences.
In December 1977, ufologists A.J. Gevaerd and Marco Petit are hard at work writing for the Brazilian publication UFO magazine when they hear about the stories from Colores.
The military operation is the first military operation that we know of in Brazil and probably in the world, entirely dedicated to try to understand what was going on here involving the UFO phenomena. Over 3,000 people were interviewed by this military in a 4-month period.
That same month, Captain Holanda is ordered to surrender all materials and return to Comar. The photographs, films, and sketches they collected are kept classified.
He was given the order to shut down the operations center immediately. He was a military, he didn't ask much questions.
One of the things that most shocked me and the other colleagues was the fact that at the end of December in that year of 1977, when the encounters were becoming increasingly fruitful, the order came, and to this day no civilians know who it came from, saying that the operation was terminated.
Over the next few months, reports of strange sightings and bizarre attacks subside. In time, the stories about mysterious lights in the sky drift into local legend. For the next 30 years, Operation Saucer is kept under wraps, but Captain Holanda does not remain silent forever. In 1997, he decides to meet with A.J. Gevaerd and Marco Petit in a videotape meeting just outside Rio de Janeiro. In this rarely seen video, the captain gives his chilling account of what happened on the island.
The ship gave an explosion like thunder. A very strong explosion and brightness. It took off at incredible speed toward the atmosphere. And disappeared among the stars.
In 1977, the Brazilian Air Force's UFO investigation, called Operation Saucer, generates a massive report which sits in classified government archives for over 20 years. The files contain roughly 500 photographs and 3,000 interviews with witnesses who claim that they were attacked by bright lights in the sky over the Amazonian island of Colores. It is not until 1997 that the veil of secrecy begins to lift. June 1997. UFologist and editor of the Brazilian publication UFO magazine, A.J. Javierd, is at work when he receives a phone call. On the other end of the line is Captain Urangue Holanda. Holanda was in charge of the Air Force team sent to Colores back in 1977.
And he called me and said, I always admire what you've done. I think you've done the right things. And in the past, we weren't able to talk because, you know, I was in the military. But right now, I'm retired. And if you want to talk to me, please come to my place.
Soon, Javierd and his co-editor Marco Petit head to see Holanda. For 2 days, the three men gather at the captain's house in Cabo Frio, just outside Rio de Janeiro. They videotaped the entire meeting.
It was a man with a very lucid memory, very, very good memory, who could report in details things that happened 20-some years before, with such a precision that impressed us.
The most important part, without a doubt, is his description of the encounters he had with these ships. He came face to face with ships that sometimes were 100 meters in diameter, of varied shapes, and that really placed him in a situation that few people, in global terms, had the opportunity to witness.
We could hear a sound like an air conditioner. That kind of dull sound. And deep inside the sound, there was a clicking noise, like the sound of a ratchet. This noise coming from the ship was very clear.
Holanda describes in detail 3 different encounters with alien spaceships. These are the drawings he made to depict his first encounter. He told the researchers that his second encounter occurred one evening while he and his team were standing on the beach.
The light came close to us and stopped high. It was high, quite high up there. But it stopped and actually made a circle around us. It made a circle and then took off toward the east.
The captain then describes his last and most shocking encounter. He tells the ufologists that he was visited by a humanoid from one of the ships while he was in bed.
I was lying on my side. Suddenly, a very powerful flash lit up the room. I was startled. I heard a strange thing, and immediately afterward, there was a being behind me, hugging me. It was a rather strange situation.
The captain then goes on to describe the alien.
It was 1.5 meters tall, more or less, dressed in a suit resembling an astronaut or a diving suit. It was kind of soft. It wasn't very tight. I didn't see the face. It had a mask that was lead gray, and I couldn't tell the details of the face. I didn't see any eyes. I didn't see any shape.
Holanda also tells the researchers that the alien spoke to him.
I was very frightened. And that thing behind me, hugging me, squeezing me. And it spoke into my ear in Portuguese. With a sound. It seems like a computer, that metallic voice. It spoke into my ear. Take it easy. We're not going to do you any harm.
Holanda says that the alien then disappeared.
He could tell us with such a precision what happened. And you can see that there was a great variety of objects operating in this area. Some objects, strangely, they would come from the jungle. They would come from between the trees. Some other would come from the sky. And a few others would come from the water. That's very amazing.
The captain makes another startling claim. He shows the ufologists his own